Hey YouTube, this is Mark, Northeast Indiana, in my shop. It's a bit warmer than it has been. And I just want to do a video, unlike probably any other video I've done since I've done the channel. I may have done some reviews in the past, but this one just a little bit different. So I want to let you all know up front, this is not a video about any kind of woodworking, blacksmithing, forging, mechanical, shop work, nothing like that. It is going to be a review of a tobacco alternative product that is helping me get off of tobacco totally. So that's what it's about. I appreciate you clicking on if you were expecting something else. But if you're not interested in that, or, you know, it's just something you're not wanting to watch, feel free, you know, this is time to head out. And I'll have another video up of some other stuff I'm doing. I'm doing some lighting in the shop. I'm doing some air compressor work, hose organization. That stuff will be coming up in future videos. So I hope you come back and check out what else I have. And if you stick around, if you are a tobacco user, maybe you've been chewing tobacco for a while and you want to try to get off of it, this may very well pertain to you. But I appreciate each and every one of you that click on the video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe. And if you don't like it, hit that dislike button. That's okay. Lets me know that you're here. So I'm going to take off my hat while we're talking so you can kind of see me. But I just want to kind of talk about my history with tobacco. And I want to talk about why I'm trying to get off of using tobacco so much. Give you a little backstory. I was born in the late 60s, and so grew up in the 70s and graduated high school in the early 80s. So it was a different time in the United States, obviously. And, you know, it's true. Parents used to kick their kids outdoors, and you'd stay outdoors till the street lights came on. That's when you knew you had to get home. And that's what it was like for me growing up. Lived in a small town in Northwest Indiana. I'm over in Northeast Indiana now. And the first time I ever was introduced to any kind of chewing tobacco, I have an older brother, 6 years older than me. And he was a teenager, and I was probably, I was in that 10 to 12 year range. And he and his friends had gotten into Redman plug, and came in a pouch. And I think you guys probably know what it is. You can look it up on the internet if not. But he and his brothers thought it would be funny one day to give me some of that Redman. And I'll never forget it. I thought, you know, this is pretty cool. I'm with the big boys and chewing tobacco. And no one told me anything about spitting tobacco or anything like that. Well, I dang near ate that stuff, and you can guess I got sick, and that was an awful first experience. But I remember it. I remember the taste of Redman, and I've chewed Redman over the years here and there, and it's always kind of been a sentimental thing for that silly reason. That's how I got introduced to tobacco. So probably about 10, 12 years old, that's when I was first introduced to it. Like I say, we played outside all the time, and I was in a small town. Our house was near the edge of a subdivision that opened up into a lot of fields and farms. So we were all the time out playing, and we had what a lot of kids don't have nowadays. I feel sad for them, but we had a fort, and we had built a fort in a fence row, a tree line that bordered one of the farmers' fields that bordered the subdivision. And I had a couple good friends that lived a couple blocks away. We'd always hop on our bikes and ride around. And we'd ride around the neighborhood and cause mischief and stuff. I mean, like stuff like I pulled the storm sewer drain up on a curb once, and I couldn't get it back down. So, you know, the police come out, you know, with their single light, and they took me home, and I got what a lot of kids don't get nowadays, and that was a good butt whipping. And for messing with the street storm sewer. But that's the kind of kid I was. I was always into something. Well, one day I found a partial pack of cigarettes, and I don't know what they are. my sentimental memory says they're Marlboro Reds, but I have no idea what they were. There's probably 6 or 8 cigarettes in that pack, and somebody had dropped them. I found them on the side of the road. Well, that was a gold mine. So I picked that pack up, and I went over to my friend's house, and he got some matches, and we decided we were going to go to the fort, and we're going to be Marlboro men. And back in the day, they had commercials on TV for cigarettes, and I'll never forget the Marlboro man. You know, he's out there on the range riding his horse. He was tough, and that's who everybody wanted to be. That was anybody around us. We want to be a tough Marlboro-like man. And so we got a little fire going in that fort, and we decided we were going to smoke them cigarettes. And we smoked all of them. And we divided them up between the 2 of us. We smoked all of them. And we got green. Oh my gosh. It was looking back, the funniest thing I can imagine. 2 11 or 12-year-old kids smoking them cigarettes, getting sick, but not saying anything because we were tough. And that was the first time I really smoked a cigarette. I'll never forget it. Funny story about that fort. We burnt it down later. And we caught that whole tree line on fire. We ran out in a panic, and my buddy, I'll never forget it, as we were running through the thicket, he took a twig to the eye, scratched his eye, and he had to get glasses. And I got a butt whipping for that too. But, you know, that's the way we grew up. No video games, no nothing. We were just outside, and that's just, those are good times in the 70s. Well, I ended up moving from Northwest Indiana to Central Illinois. Champaign-Urbana is where the University of Illinois is at, and I lived north of there. There used to be an Air Force base called Chanute Air Force Base, and we lived in Rantoul. And again, we lived on the last row of houses on a subdivision that opened up out into fields. And Illinois, Central Illinois is so flat. If you've ever driven through there, you know what I'm talking about. It's even more flat than northeast Indiana, a lot less trees. And they used to call in the winter, before they changed their farming methods, they used to call the drifts, the $1 million top, you know, soil that got into the drifts, and all that dirt would blow, and it was $1 million drifts. Beautiful dirt over there for farming. And as I moved there when I was in junior high, and ended up graduating school. There was 4 in my graduating class. Give you an idea how big the town was. And before I went to college, I got a job in a factory, and Caterpillar had actually it was a foundry. Caterpillar had a foundry in Urbana, Champaign-Urbana, and I think it was in Urbana, in one of the 2. I don't know how they break it up. But I worked in that foundry for a summer, and I'll tell you what, that's some of the hardest work I've ever done. And those men, I remember seeing 30-year-old men thinking, good Lord, you know, they're 60 years old. They're tough as nails. It was hard, dirty work. And I learned, I mean, I was a hard worker. I grew up with a strong work ethic. I had been working in fields since I was probably, I want to say 10 years old. We were able to detassel corn with a fella that was a friend of our family who ran a Pioneer outfit. And before that, I delivered papers with my younger brother, 2 years younger than me. So I've been working. My dad made us work all the time. Saturday was not a play day. It was a work day around the house. And the type of dad my dad was, he volunteered me to mow other people's lawns for free. So I remember this old lady, I don't know if she was Polish or something. She's Eastern European. Her name was Mrs. Petrakis. And she lived probably, it seemed like a mile away. It probably wasn't that far away. But my dad volunteered me to mow her lawn. She's very particular. And I had a push mower, and I had to push that mower across, you know, not across town, but, you know, however many blocks it was to her house, and mow her lawn. Then I had to push it all back. I carried gas, trimmers, all that stuff. Not any weed trimmers like a gas-powered weed trimmer. I'm talking about them scissor things. And so yeah, that's the type of life I grew up. Hard working, had to work. I've been working all the time since I was probably, 9, 10 years old. And I like work. So, I mean, I don't mind it. But when I started working in that foundry, I started smoking Winston's. Now, back in that day, and younger people probably won't remember this either, but back in the day, they used to have at hotels and gas stations and restaurants and all this stuff, they used to have cigarette vending machines. And they had cigarette vending machines in this foundry. And I don't know how much pack cigarettes cost back then, 75 cents, $1, something like that. And a lot cheaper than they are now. And I used to smoke them. And that was actually preferable to what we were breathing in that foundry. And we used to smoke on the job. And now my dad was a pastor, a Baptist pastor. Now you can imagine, even as a high schooler, what would have happened to me if my dad would have found out that I was smoking. In fact, he did on occasion when I was younger, and I got my butt whipped a lot then too. Anyhow, so that was right before college, and I smoked pretty regular over that summer. I went to college down in Florida, and I got introduced to chewing tobacco by a buddy of mine from, I want to say Arkansas. And he chewed a fine cut Grizzly, or Kodiak. And I remember the first time I took a big dip of that one time. We were out driving around. We'd just eaten at McDonald's or Waffle House or something. And I took a big old dip of that. And man, the nicotine hit me and I was feeling great. And I'd forgotten what it was like to experience and use tobacco. And so I ended up getting sick again at an intersection, and everybody thought it was funny, and I thought it was funny. It's just one of those things, college kids having fun. But I began chewing Kodiak quite regular, and did that for a while. Graduated college and got married, and I would smoke on and off, and used a lot of chewing tobacco, Kodiak. And then I went, my wife did not like it when I would use like a long cut or anything like that. So I went to pouches, and I started using Skull Bandits, and did that for years. I got into pipe smoking as a way to try to experience some nicotine, but try to, get away from chewing tobacco. And that was pretty good for a while. And then probably over the last, I don't know, 10 years, I've just been using regular tobacco, chewing tobacco. So I smoke pipe on and off, but Skull Bandits and I tried Kodiak, I go back and forth, and it just wasn't satisfying. And I ended up settling on Copenhagen, and used Copenhagen probably up until a couple years ago, maybe a year ago. And the last real Copenhagen that I used was Copenhagen packs. And a Copenhagen pack is about that big. I think there's 12 or 14 of them in a can. In a regular can of pouches, you might get like 25, I think. Regular pouches are smaller. But I was just hooked on Copenhagen packs for a long time. And it started to irritate my mouth to the point I was getting a little bit worried about stuff. And so I began searching for tobacco alternatives, and I tried chewing mint, and that didn't work. And then there's mint pouches, and it just, man, they make me sneeze. And I was a big wintergreen fan, and I just couldn't find anything that satisfied several things for me. Number one, the ritual, but the nicotine, nicotine, they say it right on the package, it's addictive, just like coffee is addictive, just like who knows what else. But it's hard to stop. It's hard to stop. I remember my older brother telling me one time, he was smoking non-filtered Camels at the time, and he said, I told somebody I started smoking to prove I was a man. and now I'm trying to quit for the same reason. And think about that. That's how hard it is to quit nicotine. So it's not something that you just put down and walk away from. Some people do, I can't. So I was, maybe a year ago, I was online and I found this product. Let me see, I can't really see. It's called Black Buffalo. Black Buffalo is a tobacco alternative, and they've got several different flavors, and they've got pouches, and they've got long cut. And I thought, well, you know, it's not going to hurt. Try something else. And I had seen some guys that had used for a while, and they said they were having good success getting away from regular tobacco. Now, tobacco, the processing, I don't understand all this, so you got to do your own research, all right? I'm not a doctor, or I'm not a tobacconist or anything like that. My understanding of tobacco, when they use it, they ferment it, that process produces agents within the tobacco that are harmful to the human body. Not necessarily the nicotine, but the tobacco and the process it goes through. So it's important to, you know, in my journey of trying to get away from tobacco use and lowering my nicotine intake, it's important for me to get away from harmful products. I'm going to be 56 years old, and I don't want any of the issues that come with tobacco use. So as I was doing research on this Black Buffalo, I found out that they don't use any tobacco leaf or stems in their product. They use, and they don't tell you exactly what they use because it's, you know, their trade secret or whatever. But they use, you know, edible leaves, things that are environment, you know, they're biodegradable. You know, you can eat this stuff and it not harm you. They don't recommend that. I don't recommend that, obviously. And the nicotine that they use is a pharmaceutical grade. So you can buy this product in product that has nicotine in it, as well as nicotine-free stuff. So like if you're trying to lower your intake of nicotine, but you still like the ritual, you like having something between your lip and gum, you can use this and actually get off of nicotine as well. So they have that. And the biggest thing for me was the taste. So I ordered a can of wintergreen, and I ordered some mint, and I can't remember what their mint's called, cold blue mint or something. I don't know. You get on their website and check it out. And the mint was a little too sweet for me. The wintergreen was pretty spot on, and so I reordered some cans, and I started chewing that. And I get the stuff with nicotine in it, and I was trying to just lower my intake, but I found something that was very satisfying. I found that, like, when I chewed Copenhagen, those packs or pouches, about 20 minutes, and I'm getting rid of it. You know, it lost its flavor. It wasn't doing it for me after about 15, 20 minutes. These pouches, I'll have a pouch in, and I'll have a pouch in for, you know, 3 hours, easy. And the reason why I like pouches, not only does my wife not like me having a bunch of fine cut in my mouth, but in my job, I interact with a lot of people. And if I were to, I don't, you know, obviously I don't chew at the office or anything. It's a tobacco-free environment, and I don't want to, I'm a supervisor. I don't want to give the impression that I'm chewing a tobacco product or anything like that. But, you know, if I'm out and about and I know I have to deal with somebody, even, you know, on a weekend or something like that, I'll throw a pouch in, and it's very easy for me to get rid of, and, you know, not have a bunch of tobacco in my teeth and stuff like that. So again, I'm saying tobacco, but this is a tobacco alternative. There is no tobacco in this. So I found what settled on this flavor, which is their straight. Ah, man, my lighting is not good, but it's their straight pouches. And it's just a straight tobacco-like flavor. I don't even know how to describe it. It is very good. That's how I can describe it. It's very good. I love the flavor. It lasts for hours for me. And it gives me that nicotine that I need just to, you know, not to be going through any kind of nicotine cravings or anything like that. Now, Black Buffalo has a subscription program. Again, I am not sponsored by anybody on any of my videos, okay? This is just a real review. I spent my money. Black Buffalo has no idea I'm even doing this. But I enjoyed their product so much. I joined their subscription program, and every couple weeks I get 10 cans of these straight pouches, and that lasts me, it lasts me more than 2 weeks. So I always have extra cans on hand. And I keep some out here in the shop. I keep some in my car. I keep some by the couch where I'm watching TV. I've always got a can on me. And this is really good stuff. I find that like on days off when I'm not working, I'll have a pouch all day long in my mouth. And there's no side effects. There's no blistering. There's no toothache. There's no soreness of the gums or my lips. It's not affecting my teeth at all. My dentist is fully aware that I chew, and when I was chewing tobacco, they'd give me a hard time. They don't give me a hard time about this Black Buffalo. So I just wanted to share what I found. Eventually, I'm going to go to a nicotine-free can, and I'm going to start switching over to where I'm not using the nicotine as much, and I think I'm going to kick this habit. I like having it, though, for the ritual of it. After I eat, I always like throwing a dip in. When I get up and I'm driving to work, it takes me an hour to get to work. I like to have a dip. It's just one of those things, you know. It's a ritual. It's a habit, and I enjoy it. It's a calming thing for me. I work in a traumatic job. When I was overseas, you know, faced a lot of traumatic things, and tobacco is just one of those things that kind of, it's always been there for me type of thing. So anyways, just wanted to share that with you. If you're interested, Black Buffalo, pretty cool name. Black Buffalo, the African Cape Buffalo. A lot of different people, a lot of military people will switch over to this because, you know, tobacco use in the military, it's a big deal. So a lot of vets use it. I just want to say that, you know, I wholeheartedly endorse this product as a way to get off of tobacco. And eventually, you know, if you're looking to get off of nicotine, you can do that as well. So that's my thoughts and mine alone. So not sponsored. No one's asking me to do this video, obviously. But if you're looking for something that will help you, Black Buffalo is the way to go. I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, just smash that like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't. I got a new subscriber. I think his name was Brad. I really appreciate that, Brad. And, you know, join our channel here as we go about doing things. Like I say, you know, I'm not an expert in anything, but I sure will try just about anything. So that's all I got to say about that. And just wanted to share my thoughts with you today. I hope you have a good day. I hope you're safe wherever you're at. I hope you're staying warm. Starting to get a little bit chilly out here in the shop now that I turned the heat off. So I'm going to turn that heat back on and get back to work. Y'all take care.